From Rebel Wilson's autobiography, Rebel Rising, comes a story of perseverance, tenacity, and unyielding belief in oneself. This is a book for the nonconformists, for those who feel they aren't lovable or good enough, and for everyone who strives to improve themselves and their lives. Rebel Wilson, born in Sydney, Australia, has become a household name in Hollywood, known for her unforgettable performances in Bridesmaids, Pitch Perfect, and Isn't It Romantic? But her journey to stardom is far from the typical Hollywood fairy tale. In Rebel Rising, she reveals the grit and determination it took to break into an industry that often overlooked her. Rebel's path was anything but easy. Her story is one of relentless pursuit in the face of rejection, self-doubt, and societal expectations. Rebel's story begins in the suburbs of Sydney, where she grew up as a middle child in a family that valued humor and resilience. From a young age, Rebel was drawn to the world of make-believe, often creating elaborate characters and scenarios with her siblings. Unlike many actors who come from a lineage of performers or who are discovered young, Rebel's journey was one of sheer determination and self-made success. She wasn't the typical it girl that the entertainment industry was looking for, and she knew it. But what she lacked in conventional looks or a polished background, she made up for with an incredible work ethic, a sharp wit, and an unshakable sense of self. Her dream was to become an actress, but not just any actress. She wanted to be a serious one, trained in the dramatic arts. This dream led her to apply to Australia's prestigious National Institute of Dramatic Arts, NIDA, the same school that had produced some of Australia's most celebrated actors, including Cate Blanchett, Mel Gibson, and Geoffrey Rush. However, her journey to NIDA would be one of the most challenging periods of her life, filled with repeated setbacks that would have crushed less determined spirits. For 4 years in a row, Rebel auditioned for NIDA, pouring her heart into each performance, only to face rejection after rejection. Each time she was told she didn't fit their mold. She was either too different, not polished enough, or didn't have the right voice for the classical training they offered. The feedback was often vague and disheartening, leaving her to wonder if she would ever make it in an industry that seemed to value looks and pedigree over raw talent and originality. The rejection hit hard, as NIDA was a gateway to becoming a serious actor in Australia, and each rejection felt like a door closing on her dreams. But Rebel refused to give up. Instead of letting these rejections define her, she used them as fuel to keep pushing forward. She threw herself into acting opportunities, taking classes wherever she could, and working various jobs to support herself. These weren't glamorous jobs. She worked at a cinema, sold cosmetics, and even served as a dog washer. Every dollar she earned went towards funding her dream, whether it was paying for acting classes, audition outfits, or transportation to auditions. Her commitment to her craft was unwavering, and she was willing to do whatever it took to keep her dream alive. During this time, Rebel also began performing with the Australian Theatre for Young People and the Sydney Theatre Company, gaining valuable experience and honing her craft. However, despite these efforts, NIDA remained an elusive goal. After each failed audition, Rebel developed a ritual of eating pizza, sometimes a lot of it, as a way to cope with the disappointment. It was her way of filling the void left by the dashed hopes of each rejection, a small comfort in the face of such overwhelming despair. But even as she indulged in these moments of sadness, she never lost sight of her ultimate goal. In 2002, after her fourth rejection from NIDA, Rebel decided to take matters into her own hands. She wrote and produced her own play, The Westie Monologues. The play was a raw and humorous portrayal of life in Sydney's western suburbs, featuring 5 girls playing 13 different characters, all inspired by the people Rebel knew growing up. The play was a hit at the Sydney Fringe Festival, receiving rave reviews and eventually leading to a professional production. This success was a turning point for Rebel. She had proven to herself and the industry that she was more than capable of creating and performing original, compelling content. The play showcased her unique voice, her ability to find humor in everyday situations, and her talent for creating memorable characters. It was only a statement to the industry. If they weren't going to give her opportunities, she would create them herself. This bold move marked the beginning of Rebel's rise in the entertainment industry, setting the stage for later success. But even after the success of the Westie monologues, Rebel still had one question lingering in her mind. Should she try again? By this time, she had secured professional acting work and an agent, but the dream of formal training still at. On her 5th attempt, she finally made it to the final round of auditions. It felt like everything was on the line. She had come so close, but in the end, she was rejected once more. This final rejection was perhaps the most devastating of all, and it seemed to confirm her worst fears that she would never be accepted into the ranks of serious actors. Yet, instead of letting it break her, Rebel decided to move forward with even greater determination. She realized that she didn't need Neda's validation to succeed. She could and would create her own path. Rebel's journey is a powerful testament to the importance of self-belief and resilience. It's about understanding that the road to success is rarely smooth or straightforward, and that the obstacles we face often shape us more than our achievements. Rebel didn't just want to be an actress, she wanted to be an original, someone who created her own opportunities rather than waiting for them to be handed to her. This mindset has been a driving force throughout her career, from her early days in Sydney to her breakout roles in Hollywood. As Rebel transitioned to Hollywood, she faced a new set of challenges. In an industry notorious for typecasting, she was often pigeonholed as the funny fat girl. But instead of letting this limit her, Rebel used it to her advantage. She played up her comedic talents and used her unique perspective to create characters that resonated with audiences. She wasn't afraid to be herself, to embrace her quirks, and to turn what others might see as weaknesses into strengths. The breakthrough role in Bridesmaids opened the door to more opportunities. Rebel knew that she wanted to do more than just act. She wanted to write, produce, and tell stories that mattered to her. This led to her involvement in creating and starring the Pitch Perfect franchise, where she not only delivered iconic performances, but also helped shape the storyline and characters. Rebel's success in Hollywood wasn't just about landing roles, it was about taking control of her career and using a platform to push for more diverse and inclusive storytelling. In Rebel Rising, Rebel Wilson offers a candid and inspiring account of her journey, one that is filled with highs and lows, triumphs and setbacks. Her story is a reminder that success is not about fitting into someone else's mold, but about breaking the mold entirely. It's about having the courage to be yourself even when the world tells you that you're not enough. Rebel Wilson's rise to fame is a powerful example of what can happen when you refuse to give up, believe in yourself even when others don't, and are willing to create your own opportunities. It's not just a story of an actress who made it big, it's a story of a woman who refused to let the world define her. Rebel Wilson's journey is an inspiration to anyone who has ever been told you're not enough. Her story reminds us that with determination, creativity, and a bit of audacity, we can overcome even the most daunting obstacles.